has a fruity cold draw. Let's see how it tastes. Let's light it up. Typical Cuban taste. Nice. So today we'll be talking about how to improve your sleep quality. Good sleep is essential for overall health and well-being. Sorry about that. I got it. The Netherlands are playing soccer and they scored a goal. So yeah, we'll cover a variety of tips and strategies that can help you get a better night rest. Let's start with the sleep hygiene. So, sleep hygiene refers to habit, like multiple habits and practices that are conducive to sleeping well on a regular basis. And there are some key points. You should stick to a sleep schedule. Go to bed, and wake up at the same time every day, even on weekends. Consistency reinforces your body's sleep and wake cycle, so your body can get used to the time of waking up and sleeping. You should also create a restful environment. Your bedroom should be quiet, dark and cool. If it's not quiet, you could consider using earplugs. You can use an eye mask or blackout curtains if necessary. Personally, I have blackout curtains. I cannot sleep with earplugs or eye masks because I have a feeling that I just can't sleep with them. They annoy me. What you should also have is comfortable bedding. Make sure your mattress and pillows are comfortable and supportive. Everyone has different preferences, so choose what works best for you. I like my mattress a bit harder. My wife likes them a bit softer. You should limit your screen time before bed. The blue light emitted by phones, tablets and computers can interfere with your sleep. Try to avoid screens at least an hour before bedtime so you can get used to the darkness. And the last point in sleep hygiene is you should relax before bed. Establish a calming pre-sleep routine. This could include reading a book, taking a warm bath, or practicing relaxation exercises. Now, hygiene, believe it or not, is diet and nutrition. What you eat and drink can significantly affect your sleep quality. What you eat and drink most definitely can affect it, and I notice it myself. You should avoid heavy meals before bed, that most definitely. Large or rich meals can cause discomfort and indigestion, making it harder to fall asleep. Try to eat dinner at least 2 or 3 hours before bedtime if it's a large dinner, or even if it's a small one. My advice is not to eat 2 or 3 hours before bed. You should most definitely watch your caffeine intake. And I love my coffees, but I try to not have any coffee after 12 in the afternoon. Because caffeine is a stimulant that can keep you awake. Limit your intake, especially in the afternoon and evening. Remember, caffeine is not just in coffee but also in tea, soda and chocolate. Be mindful of alcohol. While alcohol might make you feel sleepy initially, it can disrupt your sleep cycle and reduce the quality of your sleep. I haven't drank in years, and I advise everyone not to drink. Doesn't matter the skin color, the religion, whatever. Just alcohol isn't good for anyone. It's like, I think it was Warren Buffett or Charlie Munger who said, I never met anyone who drank alcohol or used drugs and who was better off doing it. This is a nice Cuban. I haven't had the Cuban cigar since last summer. And the final part in diet and nutrition is that you should stay hydrated, but not too much. Drink enough water throughout the day, but try to limit fluid intake close to bedtime to avoid waking up for bedroom trips. There's nothing more annoying than waking up at 3 o'clock, having to take a pee. Now for the next part, vitamins and supplements. Certain vitamins and minerals play a crucial role in promoting good sleep. What helps me the most is definitely magnesium. It's like, I think I read somewhere that like 50% or more of the population doesn't have enough magnesium. This mineral helps to relax muscles and calm the nervous system. Foods rich in magnesium include leafy greens, nuts, seeds, whole grains, although I don't eat whole grains or any carbs, but you can also consider a magnesium supplement. That is which I use because I also work out a lot. Next thing, especially if you live in a country which doesn't have nice weather most of the time, like me here in the Netherlands, vitamin D. Low levels of vitamin D have been linked to poor sleep quality. Sunlight is a natural source, but you can also find vitamin D in fatty fish, fortified foods, and supplements. I myself try to walk every day, at least 10,000 steps. But I also supplement with vitamin D, like 2 or 3 drops. Just don't overdo it. It's never good to overdo any supplement. Like, if a supplement package says take 4 pills a day or 2, I most of the time take half, so instead of 4 I take 2, instead of 2 I take 1. And another vitamin are B vitamins that are good for sleep. Like vitamin B6 and B12 are essential for the production of neurotransmitters that regulate sleep. You can find these in varieties of foods including fish, poultry, eggs and dairy. I don't know if meat also contains them, but I know that a lot of vegans and vegetarians need to take B supplements because I think, but don't quote me on this, but that most B vitamins are found in the meats and dairy. Like I don't think that fruits and salads and vegetables and stuff like that contain B vitamins. What helps me the most, I think, is physical activity. Regular physical activity can help you fall asleep faster and enjoy deeper sleep. Exercise regularly. Aim for at least 30 minutes of moderate exercise most days of the week. Let me wait for the airplane to pass. So yeah, like I said, aim for at least 30 minutes of exercise. Like activities like walking, cycling or swimming are great options, but I like hitting the gym, swimming and sauna. But yeah, sauna isn't really activity, but it's mentally very good, and trust me, after 20 minutes of sauna you will sleep like a baby. Timing also matters when exercising. Try to finish vigorous exercise at least a few hours before bedtime. Exercise raises your body temperature, and a cooler body temperature is associated with better sleep, and you also fall asleep when your body temperature drops. So don't go lifting weights an hour before you're going to sleep. Like that won't work. It's counterproductive. Also, light activity before bed is good. Like gentle stretching or yoga can help relax your body and mind, making it easier to transition to sleep. But like really gentle stretching and yoga. Some other useful tips. Let me see. Some additional strategies to improve your sleep quality. I would say limit your naps. During the day, while short naps can be refreshing, long or irregular napping during the day can negatively affect your nighttime sleep. If you must nap, try to limit it to 20 to 30 minutes maybe, but don't go sleeping for 1 or 2 hours during the day. That's really bad. Exposure to natural light during the day helps regulate your sleep and wake cycle. Try to spend some time outside every day, and especially when you wake up. Like when you wake up, within 15 minutes I would suggest to go on the balcony or in your garden or take a brisk walk if you can, and look at the sunlight, like not directly in the sunlight, but look outside, and not through a window, but literally outside in the garden or the balcony. Now, you should also manage your stress. Stress and anxiety are a major sleep disruptor. Techniques such as mindfulness, meditation, sleep breathing exercises can help manage stress levels. Like, I think most of the burnout diseases and sickness and everything is because of stress. I think that we as humans really don't realize how much effect long-lasting stress has an effect on us. Like, having stress is perfect when you have things to really stress about, but in short cycles. Like, if you go for a job application, you should be a little bit stressed. That induces that flight and fight switch, that you function a bit better. And when a lion starts attacking you, what's up with these planes today? It's vacation time, I guess. Like I said, short during stress is good, it's actually good for you, but chronic stress is one of the worst things. It's one of the worst things that you can have, chronic stress. And I don't really do it myself, but I can imagine that seeking professional help, like if you consistently struggle with sleep despite following these tips, consider consulting a healthcare professional. Conditions like insomnia or sleep apnea may require specialized treatment. So, most definitely go to a doctor if you think you have sleep apnea or insomnia. But, you should always start with the basics. You cannot blame anything except yourself if you counter everything I just said. If you go to bed at 2 o'clock every night and wake up at 7 in the morning, it's not weird that you're tired, and because you are tired and so sleep deprived, you are stressed, and that can turn into a vicious cycle. And remember, you cannot catch up on sleep. If you slept 5 hours today and sleep 10 hours tomorrow, that won't help. You should have every day the least amount of sleep that you and your body needs. See it like this: you should affects your sleep and consequently your overall health. Remember, good sleep is a cornerstone of well-being. So remember, good sleep is a cornerstone of well-being. So prioritize it as a part of your daily routine. Thank you for listening, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I hope this video will make you sleep. And this is a good one. I wish you all the best. Have a good night. Have a good life. Bye-bye. Hi everyone. Today I'm gonna be smoking my favorite one. Casa de Nicaragua. I got my trusty cutter over here. Nice cut on a cigar. So I got my glass with a slice of lemon. If you find the video useful, I would highly appreciate a like and a comment so I can grow my channel. The best thing you can do for me is also subscribe. Let me start with the toast of the cigar. It smells good already. Let me finish it off with a match. There we go. So, I want to start with a quote by Jim Rohn. And it says, "Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishments." This quote perfectly encapsulates why discipline is so vital in our lives. Whether you're aiming for success in your career, striving to achieve personal goals, or nurturing relationships, discipline plays a key role. Today, we're going to talk about how you can improve your discipline and eventually make it second nature, so you don't have to constantly watch over it. Because if you have to think about it every time, it's harder to follow than just making it your second nature. So, let's start with the first section, and that's understanding discipline. What is discipline? First, let's define what we mean by discipline. Discipline is the ability to control your impulses, emotions, and behaviors to achieve long-term goals. It's about making choices that are beneficial in the long run, even when they're difficult in the moment. summertime again. So there are two types of motivation. Intrinsic, which comes from within, and extrinsic, which comes from external rewards. Discipline helps bridge the gap between these motivations, guiding us to stay on track, even when our intrinsic motivation might be low. So, why is discipline important? Why discipline is important? Well, disciplined individuals tend to have better focus, higher productivity, enhanced self-esteem, and overall life satisfaction. Think about successful athletes, entrepreneurs, or artists. They all attribute a large part of their success to strong discipline. It's what helps them push through challenges and stay committed to their goals. Then the second section is building discipline. You want to start small. Building discipline doesn't happen overnight. You have to start small. Like tackle manageable tasks to avoid feeling overwhelmed. This concept is often called micro habits. These are small actions that are easy to maintain and gradually build your discipline. For example, if you want to read more, start with just 5 minutes a day. Like I had times that I read maybe 2 or 3 pages. So you start by not even wanting to pick up the book. And just by reading one page, 2 pages, 3 pages, you'll get yourself not being able to go a day without reading a couple of pages. So what you want to do is set clear goals. Setting clear, achievable goals is crucial. And you should use the SMART criteria. It's like, it stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Clear goals give you direction and motivation. Instead of saying, I want to be healthier, say, I will exercise for 30 minutes 3 times a week. It's a much better way of actually doing it than not giving it a goal. By saying I want to be healthier, you're not defining anything. Hence, saying I will exercise for 30 minutes 3 times a week is you actually doing something. Also want to establish a routine, because by establishing a constant daily routine is one of the best ways to build discipline. Structure your day to include specific times for work, exercise, relaxation. Routines reduce decision fatigue, make it easier to stick to disciplined actions because they become part of your daily flow. You repeat something, the more it becomes second nature. It's like riding a bike. The first time you rode a bike, maybe you don't even remember, but trust me, it was awful. Maybe the second, third, fourth, fifth time also. But now, if you learned how to ride a bike, you don't even think about how to ride a bike, you just sit on it and pedal to the metal. helpful. You should use accountability partners, journals, or apps to keep track of your progress. I use the app Notes on my phone, so I have an alarm going off which reminds me to check the notes, and I tick off everything I have to do for the day. Monitoring your progress not only keeps you motivated, it also helps you identify areas for improvement. When you see tangible evidence of your progress, it boosts your confidence and commitment. That's why a lot of people, after going a couple of weeks in the gym and doing it the right way, they see a difference which makes them want to go more and makes it a second nature to go. You should also develop willpower. Strengthening your willpower is essential for maintaining discipline. You should practice mindfulness, avoid temptations, and ensure you get adequate rest and nutrition. Willpower is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. But also, like a muscle, it needs rest and proper care to function at its best. You don't want to overdo it. You don't want to overdo anything. Now, for the third part, it's making discipline second nature. You should have a habituation process. Let's talk about making discipline second nature, okay? This process is called habituation. By performing tasks regularly, they eventually become automatic. Think about brushing your teeth or driving a car. At first, these actions required effort or concentration, but now they're effortless. You don't even think about it. Integrate disciplined actions in your identity. See yourself as a person who values discipline. Use affirmations and positive self-talk to reinforce this self-image. Just tell yourself, I'm a person who values discipline and follows through on my commitments. When discipline becomes part of who you are, it feels less like a chore and more like a natural way of living. Hence the reason why you should never say any negative things about yourself, like even saying things like I'm bad at remembering names. No, you just haven't found a way to remember names and only remember faces. By saying you're a type of person that cannot remember names or remembers names poorly, you are downplaying yourself instead of finding a way that other people use, which you don't know, on how to remember names when someone introduces themselves, which will garnish you a lot more respect in their eyes if you remember it. Positive reinforcement, that's also a thing, and is incredibly effective. Reward yourself for maintaining discipline, and these rewards don't have to be big. They can be as simple as enjoying a favorite snack or taking a relaxing break. Positive reinforcement encourages ongoing adherence to disciplined behavior. And now, with positive reinforcement, I'm not saying go to the gym, work out for an hour, come home and eat a bucket of ice cream or a pizza. You can also reward yourself in a healthy and positive way. It gives me the time in a day where I'm not using any type of cell phone, laptop. It gives me time to at least an hour to think about the day, to reflect on the day, where I stand in life, where I want to stand in life. So I decided that doing this once a day or once a week is far more beneficial. Now, let me take this off. It's going sideways. I'm afraid it will fall on me, on the table, or in my glass of water. There we go. Now, flexibility and adaptation. Being flexible and adaptable is also key. Life changes, and so should your strategies for maintaining discipline. Regularly reflect on your progress and make adjustments as needed. This ensures you stay on track without becoming rigid or burned out. Even though people like change, some don't. One thing is for sure, that change will happen. So even if you like doing the same thing every day throughout the year, eventually something will happen that will change the way you will behave or live the rest of your life. That's why you should always be able to adapt, and you will need a lot of flexibility. Like if you are mediocre or poor and you become rich, you will have to be able to adapt to not lose the wealth. Same goes the other way around. If you're rich and for some reason you become mediocre or poor, you will have to be flexible with your standard of living, and you will have to be able to adapt. You should never overdo it, because burnouts, some people say they are burned out, but some people, in my opinion, say it too easily. But speaking of burnout, it's crucial to recognize its signs and take breaks when needed. You don't want to go 100% constant. Balance is essential. You need to recharge to maintain your discipline in the long run. Remember, discipline isn't about being hard on yourself, it's about being consistent and persistent. In conclusion, I would like to say, we've talked about starting small, setting clear goals, creating routines, developing willpower, habituation, and maintaining flexibility. Discipline is a journey, but with the right strategies, it can become second nature. I encourage you to take the first step today. Choose one small habit to start with, set a clear goal, and begin building your routine. Be a man or a woman, but remember, every small step you take is a step toward a more disciplined and successful you. We were not made to only enjoy and lay on the couch or sit behind the desk, play games. Sometimes you have to suffer a bit, and suffer isn't by any means a bad thing. Because after the suffering, you will feel the reward and you will feel better. When you're in-house all day, you're gaming all day or laying on the couch and watching TV, there is zero reward and you will feel more sluggish and tired. But after a brisk walk of half an hour, or going to the gym or cleaning your room, you don't like to clean your room, but after you're done, you will feel good actually. First of all, that it's clean. Second of all, you have accomplished something, even if it's a simple thing like cleaning the room. Like I said, if you like my content, help me grow this channel. I really like doing these types of videos, and maybe you can suggest a thing that I should talk about. Maybe you have a nice subject. Leave it in the comment and I would like to share my thoughts on it. Remember, everything I say is an opinion. It's not set in stone, and you are probably further in life or better than me. So by commenting your thoughts on the subjects that I'm talking about, I can also learn from you. So yeah, let's round it up. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions or want to share your experiences with building discipline, leave a comment below. I'd love to hear from you. And remember, discipline is not just a practice, but a way of life. Stay committed, stay focused, and you will see the results. Until next time, keep pushing forward, friend. Hi guys. Got the cutter. Got the Casa de Nicaragua. So, while I'm cutting this, I have some things to say. I already got it. I would like to start with thanking Phil, aka Excelsior7 at Excelsior7 for the $5 donation on Buy Me a Coffee. Thank you, man. I I really appreciate it. You're helping the channel grow. I would greatly appreciate a comment, a like, or a subscribe. Only if you like my content. Let me light this one up. Also, let me know if you would like me to do a Q&A in the future. Gotta finish it with the matches. So today we will talk about stocks and investing in general. Let's start with the main topics of investing and why it's more important to put your money in stocks rather than keeping it in the bank and letting inflation eaten it up. So, understanding inflation. Inflation is the gradual increase in the prices of goods and services over time. Which effectively decrease the purchasing power of your money. To put simply, the amount of money you had last year can buy you less today because of inflation. And as you may well know, that's never a good thing. So, how inflation works. For example, if the inflation rate is 3%, something that cost $100 today will cost $103 next year. So if you keep your money in the bank without earning a high enough interest rate to outpace inflation, you're effectively, literally losing money. So do the $100 times 10 is $1,000, plus the 3% inflation is $30. So the higher the number, the more you will feel it. Now, the impact on savings. Keeping money in a traditional savings account, which offers low interest rates, means that your savings are growing at a lower rate than inflation. This results in a decrease in the real value of your money over time. So if the, let's say, interest is 1 or 1.5%, and the inflation is 3 or 4%, you're losing 1.5% on your savings account. While the average S&P return, which is like an ETF, or I mean, there is an ETF for S&P 500, it's like the yearly average is I think 10%. So instead of losing money, you're making money. So if you invest $100 and the average return is 10%, at the end of the year you have $110. Now, let me explain a bit about ETFs. So, like I said, let's talk about ETFs or exchange traded funds, which ETF stands for. investment vehicle for many. What are ETFs? You may question. ETFs are investment funds that are traded on stock exchanges. Much like individual stocks, they hold a collective assets such as stocks, bonds, or commodities, and typically track an index. You can see it as a basket of stocks instead of investing in one. The benefits of ETFs is diversification. By investing in an ETF, you're buying a small piece of a large number of stocks or other assets, which spread out your risk. Like if you invest in one stock, let's say, I don't know, Coca-Cola. Now this is a bad example because Coca-Cola won't go bust, but if the company goes bankrupt, you lose your investment. But investing in ETF, you're basically like the S&P 500. You are investing in the 500 richest companies, biggest companies, and if one, let's say the 500 least profitable company falls out, they just replace it with the one that comes after that. Another benefit, lower costs. ETFs generally have a lower expense ratio compared to a mutual fund. Also, the liquidity. Since ETFs trade on stock exchanges, they can be bought and sold throughout the trading day at the market price, which not every option you have in trading can do. Now, there are several types of ETFs, and I encourage you to look up which are the best and most widely used. But you have like index ETFs. They track a specific index, like the S&P 500. You have sector ETFs. These focus on particularly industries such as technology or healthcare. You have bond ETFs. So that's like you invest in a portfolio of bonds, which I do not really know a lot about. I know in America they invest a pretty large amount in bonds. You use that tactic of 60-40 or something like that, or 40-60. So 40% in stocks and 60% in bonds, or the other way around. I'm not sure. Then you have commodity ETFs. So invest in commodities like gold or oil or grain and stuff like that. But to be honest, I only invest in the S&P 500 and like when it comes to ETFs, it's S&P 500. iShares World, so like what, I don't know how to say it in English. Like the first world countries, economies. And there was another one, but I don't remember it exactly, but it's all like the most bought and most old ETFs that they sell at my brokerage account. speaking about the brokerage, how to invest in ETFs. You will need a brokerage account to buy ETFs, and if you're new to investing, a lot of people also don't even know what a brokerage is. And that's basically the party at which you buy the ETF. So I use the Giro or the Gyro, I don't know how I would say it in English, but there are brokerages like Peter Pan and other ones which I don't remember the names of, but there are a lot of brokerages, and I advise you to look it up. You can also invest through your bank in the stocks and ETFs, as far as I know, but I advise you to choose the most cost-effective option. Now, to research and select ETFs, you look for ETFs that match your investment goal and risk tolerance. You have uncountable numbers of ETFs, but my advice is to just go to your brokerage and you have an option to see which ETFs are most bought and longest held by buyers. And my advice is not to go too deep and just buy those. And at last, you place your order, decide how many shares you want to buy, and place your order through your brokerage. That's what I do every month. Because you pay, like I pay, I think €1 for every transaction. So it's just, what I do is I just buy a bunch of shares and pay €1 for, let's say, 10 ETFs. But if you buy them separately, so one today, one tomorrow, every purchase you pay €1. So I just combine everything and pay €1 for it. And investing, there are also high-risk stock investing options like calls and options, which, if you don't want to risk your wealth and health, I would not do, because while ETFs are a safer bet for most investors, there are other high-risk stock investments like calls and options. Options are contracts that give you the right but not the obligation to buy or sell a stock at a set price before a certain date. Which that in itself blows my mind already. So you have a call option that gives you the right to buy a stock at a specific price, and you have a put option that gives you the right to sell a stock at a specific price. And the reason they're risky is the complexity. Like, options are more complex than stocks and require a good understanding of how they work. There's a leverage, like the options allow you to control more shares for smaller amounts of money, which can lead to large gains but also large losses. Because of, let's say, time decay, options have an expiration date and their value can decrease over time, especially if the stock price doesn't move in the direction you anticipated. That's why the only people who should consider options are experienced investors who are comfortable with the risks and complexities. And I'm not one of them, to be honest. have a fair share of knowledge when it comes to stocks, but I stay away from calls and options. Another interesting way to invest, although a lot of people say that it's not really investing, is gold. But I see it more as a hedge against inflation, what a lot of people call it. Gold has been considered a safe haven investment for centuries, especially during times of economic uncertainty. Why you could or should invest in gold is, like I said, a hedge against inflation. Gold tends to hold its value over time, making it a good way to fight against inflation. Like if you bought an ounce of gold last year, this year you would make $300 on it. So you can say what you want, but that's not bad. Making $300 on something that you just bought and laid somewhere in a vault, or because of safety reasons, you can buy it on like a stock on paper. But if you don't own it, it ain't yours, in my opinion. It's also during economic downturns or market volatility, investors often turn to gold as a store of value. Let's say if you live in a country that has great instability, let me say it that way, gold has the same price everywhere on earth. So your money of your country might not have the same value everywhere on earth, especially when as it hits the fan. That's why if you have 100 grams of gold, which is I don't know, $7,000-8,000, if you manage to take that with you to the country that you're fleeing to, you have $7,000-8,000, and that's, in some countries, that's like a year worth of apartment costs. So yeah, the ways of investing in gold is you can buy physical gold. So buying physical gold in the form of bars, coins, or jewelry. Although I would never advise you to buy it in jewelry, because you pay 200 or 300% extra above the spot price just because it's jewelry. So that's idiotic. Then you have gold ETFs. So these funds track the price of gold and are traded on stock exchanges. And gold mining stocks, so investing in companies that mine gold. The risks of investing in gold is if you buy it physically, the storage and insurance costs. So physical gold requires secure storage and insurance. And I don't know if it's worth it. Either you run the risk of keeping it at home, or you have to pay a lot of money to keep it at a vault at a bank or somewhere else. Let me wait for the vacation plane to fly over. Unlike stocks and bonds, gold doesn't produce dividends or interest, so the only thing you see going up is the value, but you don't get invest only what you can afford to lose. One of the golden rules of investing is to only invest money that you can afford to lose. This is important because investing always carries some level of risk, and you don't want to find yourself in a financial crisis because you invested money that you needed for essential expenses. So, borrowing money to invest it is, in my opinion, unless you're 100% certain, which you cannot ever be, the craziest thing you can do. What I like to do is set a budget. So you assess your finances, take a close look at your income, expenses and savings. Then you determine your risk tolerance, so based on your financial situation and personal comfort. With risk, decide how much money you can invest. Stick to your plan. So consistently invest within your budget, whether it's $50 a month, 500 or 5,000 per month. As long as you can consistently invest it. So investing $500 or euros once in your life won't make you a millionaire at the end of your working years. You have to do it consistently. So you start small and you grow. It's perfectly fine to start with small investments and increase them as your financial situation improves. That's also logical, there aren't many people that can start with $1 million and invest it. Now I got new glasses and they're a bit loose, so they keep falling down. So if you see me pushing them back on my nose like a nerd, you know why that is. So, for the next part, and one of the most important parts, is investing in yourself. In my opinion, the best investment you can make. Because, first of all, education and skills, like continuously improving your knowledge and skills, can lead to higher income and better career opportunities. Take courses, enroll in courses related to your field of interest, because you can use that on your CV and in talks that you have with your boss. Read books, like books on personal finance, investing, self-improvement, can provide valuable insights, but trust me, don't fall for the trap of self-improvement books and stuff like that, because that's all theory, and half of that you already know. Also, health and well-being. Maintaining good health is crucial for long-term success and happiness. So you should, what I always say, exercise regularly. Physical fitness boosts your energy and productivity. But also, of course, more important than that, well, more important, maybe not, but a healthy diet. So a balanced diet contributes to overall well-being. The next thing, personal development. Working on personal development helps in becoming a better person. Set goals. Establish short-term and long-term goals for personal growth. Like, write it down. Just write it down. Trust me, it will help you. You should learn new skills, whether it's a new language, a hobby, or professional skill. Continuous learning is key. I know you probably never liked school or learning, but trust me, there's a saying, the more you know, the less you know. But means you're finding out things, and it also means you can find out things in which you feel the happiest, in which you make the most money, or if you don't want to make a lot of money, the more you know, the more you can find a job which makes you happy, maybe with a lesser pay, but more happiness. And what's better than that? And of course, understanding economy and money, that's needed within your personal development. So gaining a solid understanding of how economy and money works can help you make better financial decisions, like learn what it means, the word money, the value behind it, and how important or not important it is. Like, you shouldn't be a person for whom money comes on the number one spot above everything. But to be honest, you also should not be a person for whom money comes on the last spot. And then what I would also like to say is enjoy your youth. At the end of the day, don't forget to enjoy your youth. Don't be cheap. While saving money and investing is important, it's also crucial to spend money on things that make you happy. And of course, money cannot buy happiness, but you know what I mean. Life experiences. So, buying a thing, an object, most of the time will not make you happy, or only for a short while. But life experiences, so vacations. Don't miss out on memorable vacations with friends or family. Activities and hobbies. Engage in activities and hobbies that you enjoy. And of course, social events and gatherings and stuff like that. So, unfortunately, we live in a world in which you need money to be able to do those things. And I don't know if it's really unfortunate, because I believe in hard work and that hard work pays off. But hard is not hard in the sense of you have to break your body and everything to make money. Hard in the sense of you have to use your intellect and everything to be able to do it. So you really want to have the balance. Strive for balance between saving for the future and enjoying the present. You cannot go back to the past. All you have is now and later. So life is about experiences, and you don't want to miss out on those because you were too focused on saving every penny. It's not logical. Don't be a cheapskate. So in summary, I would like to say investing is a crucial part of financial planning. From understanding inflation and the benefits of ETFs to exploring high-risk investments like options and the safety of gold, each investment type has its own pros and cons. Remember to only invest what you can afford to lose, and continually invest in yourself for personal and financial growth. And finally, of course, enjoy your youth and make sure to balance savings with living life to the fullest. It's once you get a bit in the world of finances and investing, you realize the things that your parents probably did or did not do to be where they are now. There are a lot of books on the finances and how money actually works. And there are a lot of people that have to work till they are 65, 70, and at the end of their life only have 1,000 or 2,000 bucks to spend, and others have a lot more to spend monthly. Sometimes I think that I didn't start investing on time, because the longer you invest, the more compounding there is. Compounding is a theory within itself, but it's like, how should I say it? Sorry, my nose is itching like crazy. Compounding is basically, if you invest, for example, 1,000 bucks this year in an ETF, a low risk ETF, and you get back 10%, just to round it up, you invested 1,000 bucks. At the end of the year, you have 1,100 bucks. If you reinvest and keep those 1,100 bucks, and the next year you get, and the following year you invest 1,000 more, then you get 10% of that back. So that's like 2,100 plus 10% is 2,310. So you keep investing, you keep getting back. So 1 year maybe you'll get minus 10%, but the year after you get 20%. So the average money you get back in ETFs is like the S&P 500 is 10% or something like that. There are a lot of calculators. Just for the fun of it, go to type in Google or whatever, S&P calculator, S&P 500 calculator, or all world calculator, or ETF calculator. Type in the money you invest initially, the money you would invest monthly. So let's say you invest $1,000 or euros at the start, and every month you invest 200 to 300, let's say 300 euros. And then it will ask you to type in how long you would invest. So let's say 20 years. It will calculate how much money from the start to the end you have invested, and how much money you will end up with, and the numbers are bizarre. So let's say you invest during your whole life, I don't know, 100,000. At the end of the investment period, so let's say 20 years, instead of the 100,000 on the bank, which you would have, potentially you would have, I think, like 300,000 or 400,000 or 500,000. So imagine making 400,000 bucks with that investment, which is a pretty safe investment, because I see it like this. I invest the money that I can spend, and if the S&P 500, for example, goes down or something happens that it goes to zero, which is practically impossible, we as a human race have a much bigger problem if that happens, because something crazy happens if that manages to happen. Like literally literally a fall of civilizations. And trust me, if that happens, you don't have to worry about the $300 you invested monthly. The younger you are, the more risk you can take. But I would say, like, I don't know if you're 20, 18, 19, or however 21 to 25, doesn't matter. And I know at that age I didn't think about money in this way, or in investing in a S&P 500 or an all-world ETF. But you will be happy at the end of the ride that you did. And if you can buy like one ETF every month for like $90, just do it, man. Trust me. Trust me, just do it. I mean, do a little bit of research, or find someone in your family or circle of friends or internet of people who did start on time and how much money they end up with. Like, for example, if you're 18 and you buy one ETF a month for the rest of your life, if my calculations are correct, you will have more money than a 40-year-old or 50-year-old who buys, I don't know, 50 ETFs every month or 500 ETFs for the rest of their life. So the younger you start, the more you will have at the end of the ride. And I know, as a young male or female, you don't think about what you will do when you're 50 or 60. But the more you think about it, the better it is. Live in the now, but don't forget the future you. The older you will be happy, the earlier you start investing, especially money that you don't really need right now. So yeah, basically that's it. Once again, I would really like to express my thanks to Phil with the name @ExcelSource7 for the $5 he donated on Buy Me a Coffee. I would greatly appreciate only a comment or a like or a subscription, but that really made my day, and he had a fine message also within that message, that giving me $5 is nothing compared to the value he got out of my videos. And also he talked about dividends, that it pays itself off. You shouldn't do everything for money, but you cannot deny that however you view money, it is an important part in our life. Also, to be honest, you shouldn't view money as a bad thing, because, for example, if I had 20 million, like, I don't want to put myself in these videos as a saint or something, but there are so many people, either the ones you know or do not know, that you can make so happy with that money. Money doesn't buy happiness, but trust me, your mother, your best friend, would be extremely happy if you bought them a car or a house and you had the financial means to do that. The children's hospital, or I don't know, any what's that called in English? Like a donation to hospitals, to food banks, donation to people that are on the street. Like, imagine like going outside on the street and just seeing a homeless guy and asking him, "Hey man, what do you need? Do you need shirts? Do you need food, drinks? Tell me whatever you want," and you just buy something for 500 bucks for him, from food to new clothes, and then just leave and go away. I mean, that guy would feel like heaven, but you would also, I think, you would feel better for helping the person than the person himself. Because what's better, what feeling in life is better than making someone else happy? That's something to think about. Yeah, man. Yeah. So that's it about stocks. I'm sorry I got a bit philosophical at the end, but hey, it's my channel, right? And I made a poll, and in the next video I will talk about self-confidence, and the video after that it will be supplements that I use daily and also for fitness. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe if you enjoyed the content. And a special thanks again to Phil for the donation. See you next time, guys. Stay wealthy, stay healthy. Bye bye. Hi guys, welcome back again. Today I will be smoking half a cigar. As you can see, this is the front part of a cigar. It's usually not recommended to smoke cigars this way, but if you think that you don't have the time but you do want to smoke a cigar, this is my advice. Just shorten it. Today I wanted to talk about my lifestyle, and like, I'm not able to uphold it all the time, but I try. And that lifestyle is minimalism. Today is not as rainy as the previous video, but it is more windy. So I'm gonna give a couple of reasons why I try to live a minimalist lifestyle. And yeah, I'm gonna start with the first reason. For me, it does reduce stress, because it encourages decluttering. It gives me a more, how should I say it, serene and organized house, which reduces stress and anxiety for me. Like, the less things I see, just, how should I say it? Looking at a green field with a couple of trees and flowers gives me a nicer feeling than seeing the same field with 50 machines, 100 cars, a shopping mall, and all other stuff combined. It's like an overload to your visual ability, if I say it correctly. Another thing is that it also saves money because once I adapted that lifestyle, I basically buy things only that I really need, and I take the time to think about, do I really need this? Will I need this in a year or 5 years, or will it just lay in my drawer or closet or something else where it will be just laying there collecting dust and me not doing anything with it? That's also the reason why I buy long-lasting quality stuff. Like for example, a pen or something. I rather have one quality expensive pen which I can refill for the rest of my life than have 50 pens that are just laying around in a bunch. Or same goes for shoes. Like instead of buying shoes every year or every couple of months, how some people do, that are less of a quality but more of a marketing thing. People buy, like for example, if you buy shoes, a pair of shoes every 2 months for $150, that's like out of the 12 months in a year you bought shoes for 6 months, so 6 times 150 is like 600 plus 650. What's that, like 300? So that's like $900. I rather buy one quality pair of shoes that's made out of good leather that I have for 15 years for 500-600 bucks. That's the way you should be thinking with minimalism. So it's not about being cheap. It's just about having better quality but less stuff. Basically, yeah, quality over quantity. For me, it also increases freedom because you have less things to worry about or less things to maintain, and more freedom to travel and to move. Like for example, if you have a apartment that you're renting, and I don't know, but I think like if you literally count every piece of thing that you have in your house, you'd be surprised. You maybe have like a couple of hundred of thousand things in your house, and basement and drawers and stuff like that. And the less stuff you have, the less you have to pay to move it, the less energy it costs to move it when you go to another apartment or house. And literally, it gives you more freedom, however you want to see it. Some people also have things in their drawers or any place in their basement for 10, 15 years that are literally unused. And that's just, I don't know, I find that very weird. Imagine having, I don't know, like even a random business card or I don't know, a mark doesn't have any value for you, but just somehow you got it, or whatever. It doesn't matter. It's somewhere behind in a corner, even a receipt. Like, even if you bought a closet or a bed for $2,000 and the warranty passed away 10 years ago, what benefit do you have of having that receipt in your closet that just takes your draw? Sorry, that just takes place. There's no actual benefit in it. The birds are singing today very nicely, as you can hear. So, like, for me, there's no more satisfying feeling than when I took a bag for trash and filled it to the brim with stuff I literally don't need, even clothes. I have clothes that are of a particular brand that are worth the money for what they are, but I literally haven't worn them for 5 years or whatever, and I just keep them because they're still good. There's no holes in it, or it hasn't washed out or anything. But I know secretly in my mind that I still won't wear it for years to come. So, without feeling guilty, without hesitating, I just take it, throw it in the plastic bag, and just donate it. Someone who is less fortunate will have much more satisfaction with it than me. So, it's also a way to help people. Just donate your old stuff, or stuff you don't wear. And yeah, another point, and maybe this is the most important point for me, is that the less you have, the more you value the stuff that you do have. It's I don't know if this is how everyone thinks or would think, or it's just a part of the population who would get the feeling, but for example, and this is a really weird example that just came in mind. Let's say this ashtray. It is really a weird example, but I have only one ashtray for cigars, and that's this one. The fact that I have only one gives it more value to this particular ashtray than if I had 10 ashtrays. Unless you're a collector or something, but I'm not talking about the abnormalities. That's basically also how the market works. Like, the less you have of something, for example, I don't know, whatever. When people want it, so when there's a demand for something, the more of it there is, the less value it has. So there's only one Mona Lisa painting, and that has, for example, a value of $5 million. I'm not sure. It could be 100, $200 million. I don't. It's not important. But if the same artist made 20 of the same identical paintings of Mona Lisa, it would still have value. But instead of 5 million, maybe one would be 250,000 or 1 million instead of 5. So it still would have value, but much less. And I think in the same way about my own stuff. I have 2 or 3 suits is a lot, but I've accumulated them in the past 15 years, so those three suits have more value for me and more nostalgia and stuff than if I would have 20 suits, because I have been to more weddings and parties with those suits that hold more memories than I would have if I had a suit for every separate occasion I ever went to. That's just basically the psychology behind why I like a minimalist lifestyle. Now, on the other hand, don't get me wrong, I still think that I have too much stuff compared to a real minimalist. But it's not like I live alone, I have a wife, and I cannot enforce my minimalism on her. So we try to work it out and talk about stuff. Do we really need it or not? Like, don't buy a book to have a book. Buy a book to really read it. Don't buy stuff you're only gonna wear once and then maybe next time in 5 years or never. Don't buy a dress for every occasion. You have other dresses you can reuse. It's not Hollywood that we are millionaires and you need, for every wedding or birthday, you need a new dress. Pieces of clothing are not made to wear once. That's a Hollywood movie thing. But I do still think that we do have more stuff than we actually need, and in the coming months, years, I try to reduce everything to the point of only having stuff that are used and useful. And I basically think everyone should live that way, because not only if you believe in global warming or whatever, but like it is less pollution. Like by by wooden or glass, like pots, like buy a glass cup instead of a plastic cup. There's no need for it. Like, why would you buy a cup or something that's plastic when it will like be thrown away far more easier? So either you keep buying plastic cups in the next 10 years, and eventually the price of it, even if it's 10 times cheaper than a glass cup, if this glass cup doesn't break, I can have it for 15 years, 10 years, 5 years, and it costs only, I don't know what, like $3. But if you buy a plastic cup for 15 cents and you keep throwing those away, eventually it will accumulate to much more than the $3 I paid for the glass. Like, also, like, it's not that I don't like plastic. Of course we need plastic. Plastic is in everything. But try for once in your life to buy something that's a bit more expensive, but after your research you found out that it's much more long lasting. In the Netherlands we have a saying that it's not cheap but duurkoop, which basically means it's expensively cheap. So something is so cheap that it breaks or whatever so fast that you will have to buy it 20 some stuff, especially when they're nostalgic or remind you of something, but once it's gone, it's gone. You won't think about it and you won't use it in the exact same way that you haven't thought about it or used it in the last 3, 5, 10, 15 years. Just my advice for today. I wish you a great one, guys. Thank you for being with me again. Bye bye. Hi guys, and welcome. Welcome back again to another video. Today, I will be smoking my favorite cigar, the Casa de Nicaragua. As the name says it, it's a Nicaraguan cigar. It's a Maduro cigar. It's also much darker than the cigars I usually smoke. You probably saw this cigar in my previous videos. So, today, I'll be smoking this cigar. First, I'm gonna cut it. As you can see, a fine cut. And then, of course, I'm gonna toast it and light it. For today's topic, I chose the topic of Stoicism and why I'm a firm believer and follower of the philosophy of Stoicism. So, let me light it first and then I'm gonna continue about the subject. As you can see, a fine burn. Oh, my favorite cigar. So, the reason, or the reasons why I follow the philosophy of Stoicism are the following. Um, it gives you emotional resilience. By that, I mean it teaches you to manage your emotions through rational thought and focusing on what can be controlled and accepting what cannot be controlled. Like, you can focus on going to work tomorrow. If not by car, then by train. If not by train, then by bike. But you can focus on waking up tomorrow and going to work. What you cannot focus on, or what a fact is that you have to accept, is that if tomorrow a comet hits the city or the place where you Stoicism, I mean, ethical living. Like, it places an emphasis on living a virtuous life, following the Stoic philosophy. So, um, the virtuous life, according to Stoicism, and also according to me, because I agree with it, includes being honest, just, compassionate, having empathy. Those are the things that are ethically, that causes ethical living, having empathy. So no one can say that there's something wrong with being the best you can be and being a good person. Also, the reason why a lot of people who follow Stoicism tend to be insensitive according to others is that, in my opinion, it gives you a perspective on suffering. So, Stoicism teaches you that suffering is a part of life and can be a source of growth. You can better cope with adversity and reframe hardships as part of growth, because however you turn it in your life, you will lose and you will suffer, and that's just part of life, which you have to accept. People will come, people will go. Even people who you want in your life will go one way or the other. And the sooner you accept that that is part of life, the better your life will go. Like, life is not a Disney movie. That's why it's key principle to enjoy the moments you have, but also enjoy, enjoy the good moments you have, but also enjoy the bad moments you have, because every bad moment should teach you something. Um, for me, being stoic also reduces stress because it puts focus on the present moment. It, my advice for everyone is stop thinking about the past or the future. What's done is done, and what will come is for the day that it will come to think about. Like, there's no reason to stress twice about stuff. That's what I tell my wife all the time. There's no reason to stress about things like, if you have a job application, just it's better to be prepared than to stress about how it will go. And the reason why there is no reason to stress beforehand is because leave the stress for the day itself. Why would you stress now and on the day that you have the job application or talk? also reduces your stress. Like um, if you have an appointment in the hospital for because you had a CT scan or whatever. Why would you stress days before you have the result when you can stress on the day itself? Stressing 5 days prior for every day before it just means that you will stress. Stressing 5 days prior for all the 5 days before. Stressing 5 days prior for all 5 days before you go into the appointment for the hospital results will get you nowhere, and you will only stress 5 times as much instead of just stressing on the day itself. Even though it is hard not to stress when it's about health, wealth, or whatever, you still should try and keep your composure, because if it's good news, you'll be happy and you'll be stressing about nothing. And if it's bad news, you'll just have to have an approach on how to deal with the problem. Stressing will not help you in any way with that. And maybe a last point I would want to say is it's a lot better for your relationships, family relationships, relationship with your girlfriend, wife, kids, work, um, because of the fact that you focus on the virtues like kindness, fairness, empathy, which will always lead to reducing conflicts. And having good traits does not mean you will never have a bad trait. It just means that you have to put the focus on the good traits. By putting the focus on them, you will automatically use your bad traits less. The smoke output is not so good this time on this cigar. I don't see any holes, so I don't really know why. But it's okay, it's still nice and tasty. I also have a couple of books on Stoicism. And one of those is my favorite, one of my favorite books, and it's called Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. It was like one of the last emperors, or not the last, but one of the, how do you say it, one of the last best emperors. Um, the book Meditations is basically his diaries. So when you read the book, you're literally reading a diary of an emperor that lived, I don't know what, like 2000 plus years ago. And a lot of people think that people used to be dumb or only brutes and non-intelligent. But everything we know now is because of the people that lived before us. So you should always think about what you say when you say something like that. The dogs are active tonight. buys apples but leaves them in the fridge and wonder why you never eat apples and they always go bad and you have to throw them away. Well, the thing he did to make it a habit to eat apples is to buy a nice bowl, a fruit bowl, and instead of keeping the apples in the fridge, he placed it in the middle of his table, in the middle of his room. So every time he walked in the room, he could not see it. And since then, he ate like 3 to 4 apples a day. So it's a big difference from not eating apples, throwing them away, to eating 3 to 4 apples a day just by making it a habit to put it on the table and making it attractive by letting your eye catch it. And so also a lesson is like make good things visible and make bad things invisible. The ash is going good. I'm gonna let it rest for a bit. Yeah. Basically, that's what it talks about. And also like dopamine rushes that you get. You don't get them after you perform something. You get them before you perform something, while you're at it. So it's like you get a dopamine rush before you open a present or hit the slot in the casino. And like the seeing the gift or winning something, the dopamine rush of that is a lot less than the dopamine rush of before the activity. So you have things like the cue and I don't really remember, there were 4 things: cue, and then the last thing was like let me see if I can find it. Yeah, like the cue, the craving, the reward. No, sorry, the cue, the craving, the response, and the reward. So I think you get a dopamine rush at the response the most. And it's a very good book, and it's in small chapters. So you read like 4, 5, 6 pages, and then you like leave it a bit and think about it. Because the biggest mistake that people make with self-help books is that they read them in like basically one sitting, or like a literature book. You should make notes, or you should read it in a couple of pages and then think about it for hours about what you just read. There's no point of reading something good and then forgetting it because you've read 60 pages in one go. Your mind also isn't made to remember 60 pages in one go. So yeah. The ashes are going good in this cigar. Once again, guys, I would like to thank you for listening to my rambling. And I'm gonna be finishing this cigar off by gets too dark. And I hope you have a good life. I hope by listening to what I say, you also take some action and have use of it. And I would like to thank you. Have a good life and a good day. If you like it, comment, like, and subscribe.